right, guys, so we're gonna go through my upper body max effort session today. I'm gonna just run you through like the different things that I'm doing. Actually on a crunch for time, which is good because it'll show you the reality of this session. But the philosophy behind it's almost like a template, right? There's a lot of ways to do stuff. This has worked exceptionally well for a lot of people, a lot of clients. If your goal is to improve strength and power, put on some muscle, maintain muscle, this is kind of like a great breakdown. But number one, what we're going to do is we're going to do a dynamic warm-up, mostly focused on the upper body right now. But we're going to go through a bunch of different drills that, once again, for me is getting that thoracic rotation, getting the scapula and the shoulder to function better, get everything warmed up, pump up that upper back, the opposite muscles of what I'm going to do, because I'm going to start with bench and throws. And we'll talk about that too. What are better options for, like I said, like, you know, joint-friendly things. And now that I'm older per se, actually I would do this when I was younger, so I wouldn't beat the joints up as much. But picking the right exercises for you, right? So today we'll do I would say a kabuki Cadillac bar bench instead of like a straight bar. Like I said, straight bar, using it very often can beat up a lot of shoulders. So we're gonna start with some thoracic rotations right here. I'm gonna go behind my back with this stick mobility drill. So we're gonna go nice and tall. I'm gonna exhale. Inhale, take another exhalation. So I'm squeezing the pad the whole time just to make sure that my hips are nice and locked in. Drill through that, and like I said, depending on the time frame, I might do some more of those reps, but I'm gonna go through less tomorrow. So we're gonna go downward, or should I say a child's pose position. Now just gonna get some lower body in there and some spine in there too, but I'm gonna shift around a little bit, push my butt up in the air, do a spinal roll. From that spinal roll, I'm gonna go to Spider-Man lunge. Switch it up. Coming back down, and I'm gonna just reverse this movement right here. Tuck the chin, roll the spine back, feel the hammy stretch, back down, shift. Get a couple of raises here from my shoulder blade. Repeat. Always good to work on neck mobility too, so obviously that's all connected, so we can go tuck. I'm not gonna go as many reps as I usually go, but just to show you guys a little bit. I'm gonna open up the sides a little bit. So lats right here. I'm gonna feel that stretch. Come back to midline, still get those scaps elevated. Stay in this pose. I'm going to come back and do some more, I would say upper back kind of rotations here. This locks my low back in. So it means I can't cheat. I'm pushing the back of my hand into my low back. Got a nice little pop there. So we're gonna go to the downward dog, and I'm gonna reach. So I'm gonna get a reach with my hand. So I'm pushing this hand into the ground. I'm reaching across. Like I said, I might do a lot of more reps on this usually. And then a couple more things, okay? So scapular cars, right? We get this from FRC. So I'm gonna go both at the same time, lock my rib cage in, get the shoulder blades to move. So forward, up, back, down. Right, if you can't have good quality motion from the shoulder blades, your shoulder is not gonna function well. We could actually do these overhead as well if we're gonna do any overhead work. It's more subtle, right? But same thing. Pushing them forward, up, back, down. Like I said, I'm speeding this up a little bit today. And then shoulder cars where I go one at a time. Same thing, keep tension, brace, I'm gonna go up. Once I can't get any more range here, I'm going to start rotating that arm in socket, trying to create as big a circle as possible. Internally rotate it, come all the way around. And coming back. Like I said, I would alternate these for multiple reps. Like I said, I'm gonna keep it a little bit shorter today. And then in between sets, even when I do warm-ups, I'm gonna do band pull-aparts. Like I said, I wanna get as much blood flowing in a pump into antagoning these muscles, right? The ones that are kind of creating the balance and the tension for a bench press. Big thing on this one, like every little exercise, here's what's key. It's really easy to just go kind of like rep it out, but it's key to do things really well, right? So on band pull-aparts, knuckles are long, right? Chin's down, abs are on, I'm braced, glutes are on. I'm feeling everything in that upper back, chin's packed. Notice my wrists, right? They don't do this. They're nice and straight. Here you can also externally rotate. So think about bicep turning up. So now we're getting that pull apart with some external rotation. So it's not just what you do, it's also how you do it. And I also like these warbirds. It's actually a great variation. It's a little bit of, I would say, of a stronger band. So I'm gonna go grab one here, one here. Usually this might be a lighter band, but I'm gonna go push here, protract, and then I'm going to open up here. So I'm getting that rotation. I'm getting that scap to turn on. All right, same thing, I'll hit that for 8 to 10. Do that on both sides. Now, I'm gonna start ramping up on the bench press. You guys kind of see a sped up me getting to some heavier weights, because the first part of it, now, there's a lot of times where I'll do something called a reverse workout. So where people usually think I'm gonna do the heaviest lift first or my big lift first. So for instance, like the bench press or some type of a chin up or something like that. I would actually do something like shoulder raises or a dumbbell bench press first to get the, I would say, the joints and the muscles even more warmed up before we get to a big lift. But that's a story and a method for another day. But today we're gonna go straight to the big lift, but we're gonna, obviously we warmed up pretty well. We're gonna ramp up, and then once I get to the working set, so this is my strength movement. So this is where I'm gonna go anywhere from like 2, 3 to 4, 5, 6 reps, right? Heavier, I would say lower reps, but I'm gonna contrast it with an explosive movement. So we're gonna do rotational med ball throws. Remember, if you don't use it, you lose it. One of the big things that most people don't do is power training, right? For the lower body, especially for the upper body. So to contrast, it means like when you do a heavy lift and we throw in an explosive movement, you're actually gonna be able to explode a little bit more. You can actually do it before or after. I like to just do it afterwards, so you guys will kind of see that superset. Like I said, I'm gonna warm up faster than usual on this shit. So this is the Kabuki, which is one of my favorite brands when it comes to barbells, Cadillac bar. And it has a different groove for the handles. So you can go either like internally rotate a little bit, externally rotate a little bit. It's got this curve, so you got more range of motion, way more shoulder friendly. So example, this is my pick over a regular barbell because it just feels better, right? I can really push it. It's a little, the bar is heavier. It's a little bit more challenging, but definitely like doesn't beat my shoulders up. So perfect example, like I said, are you doing a regular barbell or maybe you're doing a safety squat bar? Might be a better option for you. You're doing a regular deadlift, well, probably tri-bar deadlifts might be a better option for you, right? So this is kind of like where the specialty bars and just picking in exercises for your anatomy, for your health history, your joint health, makes a lot of sense, because I can go hard and, like I said, improve my strength, build muscle without being beat up, okay? So this is where we go in contrast, right? We did a heavy lift from here, and some of it too, it just works. It's something called PAP, post-activation potentiation. You can look it up, you can Google it. But the second part of this, it's also time effective, right? If I just do all the throws and then do all the benches, it's gonna take a lot more time. So if you're limited on time, this makes more sense to be an effective and efficient training session. So after we're doing here our main lift, right? So I did my main lift with a contrast set that was explosive. Now I'm gonna do a superset of a push-pull. It's almost like we're gonna do an assistance lift for the main lift. So we're gonna go dumbbell bench press on this one. And I'm gonna superset it with a T-bar row. And on the T-bar row, I'm gonna do something called rest pause, right? So I'm gonna do 4 reps, pause for 10 seconds, 8 to 10 seconds, do another 4, rest pause for another 8 to 10 seconds. So it's just a method of being able to lift heavier weight in one cluster set for more reps than I would if I was able to do one set. So it's just something, like I said, that we'll rotate through, program through. We'll do it on big lifts. I like to do it on assistance lifts. I've seen a lot of carryover and great results from it. So you guys will see that. And once again, you know, supersetting, there's so many ways to do it. If I was gonna do a push day and all the exercises were more push, and I was gonna do a pull day, it might be a little bit different. But when I'm doing I'll say upper body day, once again, time effective. One exercise didn't affect the other one as far as like I'm pushing then I'm pulling. My heart rate is definitely gonna be a little bit higher on this, obviously, because I'm gonna jump from one to the next, which just can also, like I said, make a more effective and efficient training session. All right, so this is what I was talking about with the rest pause. So I'm going to get this up a little bit. Do 4 reps, which will seem pretty easy. Rest for 8 seconds. Do another 4, starting a little harder. Rest another 8 seconds. Do another 4. Whew. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Like I said, that will be tough to do for 12, but in a cluster set, I can get a little bit more out of it. As you can see, superset gets that heart rate real high. All right, so this is the next part, like almost like the third part of this upper body session. And this is where I plug in some density training. Density training can be used in so many different ways, you know, by in and of itself. EDT, escalating density training, I think it was Charles Staley that coined it. Loved it. I've used it for like 20 years. I would say close to 20 years, myself with clients. You know, so here what I'm gonna do is, now, how long of a time frame do you do? That's another discussion, but like I'm gonna go and do 14 minutes as I've been progressing this, you know, week to week. But also, the way that EDT works is pretty simple concept, right? You would take a weight that you can do, there's different weight ranges that you can do, but here, I take a weight that I can do probably about 12 to 15 times-ish, and I'm gonna do about 6 to 8 reps with it. Now, push-ups are gonna be higher rep, obviously, because I can do more. And I'm gonna keep going back and forth in that time frame, try to get as much volume as possible, right? Even if I have to start dropping reps, the goal is to get a certain amount of volume inside of that time frame. For me, this is going to be 14 minutes between those 2 exercises. Now, if I beat like for instance, next week or let's say 2 weeks later, if I do 20% more volume, right, because I'm counting the reps and the sets, then I'm going up with weight, right? So that means I might add a weight vest for the chin-ups, means I might add another chain on the push-ups, right? So basically, it's a simple model. Once you can get 20% more volume in the same time frame, you go up with the weight. But you can also increase time so you get more volume in, right? So like I said, you got different variables. So I've been doing both when we were going week in and week out. So I'm gonna start off with doing about 8 chin-ups. Numbers are gonna probably start coming down. And then we're gonna hit about 20 push-ups with chains, and we're gonna keep going back and forth. Again, on these push-ups, I like to elevate them, create neutral grip, a couple of things. Doesn't bang up my wrists, right? And I can squeeze the bar together a little bit, create more tension. And once again, just another more joint-friendly option. It shows you that solo homeschool setup on the chains, how to do it. Decided to go straight into it. What's great about EDT too, heart rate's high. You can see I have to start dropping the reps a little bit on that. That's okay though. I'm gonna keep going back and forth for 14 full minutes. All right, so this is one of the last parts of the training session. I actually love doing. So Joe Ken talked about this a long time ago. I started implementing it, which is like, hey, you gotta be powerful at the end of the game too. So this is explosive work at the end of the workout, which a lot of times will be like, well, that doesn't make sense, but it does make sense. Like I said, especially if you're looking at athleticism or like power endurance. So we're gonna have one more thing after this, but something that's important to consider. I like to always have like more pulling than pushing. So right now, you've probably seen a good chunk of, it's almost equaling out, but you'll see why we'll add some more pulling there at the end. And also, if there's one closed chain push movement, so for example, we did a locked in bench press, right? There has to be one where is closed chain and the scapula is moving. So there's gotta be push-ups in there, right? Landmine presses, cable presses, right? So you gotta make sure that you level those things out, especially for most people that, you know, we're in this hunched society, phone, computer, right? So upper back work is critical. Right? Obviously mobility drills are critical, but upper back work is critical. And having more pulling than pushing, having more horizontal pulling than vertical pulling, right? That's important. Once again, picking the right exercises. You guys saw I did ring chin-ups instead of regular pull-ups and chin-ups. But once again, you guys are just seeing one snippet of one day, where when it goes throughout the week, I always make sure that those things are on point. So what I'm gonna do here now, I'm gonna do prowler throws, right? So I'm gonna upper body, get a split stance. I'm gonna throw it as explosively as I can, all the way down back. Then I'm gonna do an explosive row all the way down and back, okay? All right, so this last part, honestly, a lot of times for clients, even for myself, and once again, each person is different. So how you program, how much volume, all these different things are individual to goals, training history, you know, injuries, all of these different things, right? So once again, this is more of a template that you could switch up a lot, right? But at the end, I'm doing some, hey, gun show work, right? It's where you can plug in stuff that people want, triceps, arms, shoulders. I'm actually gonna do a tricep where I'm gonna do curls. From there, I'm gonna get some core work in here too, because I'm gonna do a tricep extensions on a TRX. You gotta lock in that core on this. And I'm gonna do shoulder raises to burnout, right? And these are like quick, right? These are quick, get pump work, feel great. We're gonna do a decompress, and we're gonna be out of here. Also a great way to see funny faces. Woo! Bada boom, bada bing. So guys, that's about hour 15. Hour 20 with warm-ups. Feel pumped right now, not gonna lie. Now, here's another key point, okay? Apart from talking about, volume, where, say for a lot of people, you might be doing 40% less, 50% less, right? 30% less, depending on where you are. Got a lot of training history, know what works for me. But one of the big mistakes after you're done with the training session, so high intensity, you're pushing, sympathetic nervous system, is people will just go, jump in a car and drive off, go straight into another stressful situation, tin can, driving around traffic, where what you want to do is relax, breathe, get your body into a parasympathetic state with specific breathing drills. I will also, on lower body days, do decompression. So I'll hang upside down, do mobility drills. I'm going to show you just one drill here, guys. That's a really, really good one for decompressing. I'm going to go up against the wall, but as close to the wall as possible. So essentially, I'm gonna slide in because like my hamstrings are pretty flexible. So right now I'm feeling a hammy stretch. And what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna feel like my heels are trying to touch the ceiling. So I'm decompressing the spine here. And then if you can't get your arms overhead, you can also go out to the side at first. And I'm gonna exhale for 4 seconds. Hold my breath for 4 seconds, inhale for 4 seconds, hold my breath for 4 seconds, right? So while I'm doing that, I'm doing and the longer you can exhale, the more it gets your body into a rest and digest, parasympathetic state, right? I'm also, like I said, thinking like my heels are touching the ceiling, like my head's getting pulled, so my spine's decompressing. I can slowly start bringing my arms up too, like I said, depending on where shoulder mobility is. But as you kind of like decompress more, you'll be able to do that. Continue to breathe. So try to breathe deep into that, like into your pelvic floor. So as deep as you possibly can. Hold, exhale long, right? And preferably, if you can, some chill music, but that doesn't matter that much. 4 to 5 minutes, even 3 minutes if you got it. And after you're done with that, you're gonna feel much, much, much more relaxed, right? So this is just one, like I said, of the drills that can be helpful. Even going for a 5-minute walk after the session, around trees and nature, just breathing, taking that walk, calming down, listening to some chill music, and then going home. Just that in and of itself will help. Because remember, you want to try to get into a recovery state as soon as possible after your training session, because the longer you recover, the better, right? So a little tip that can make a big, big difference, especially compound over time, okay? So you guys got a snippet of my upper body max effort session, right? And the thing is, hey, if you got any questions, drop them for me. I'll answer them. I'll start doing more of this stuff, just insights into my training philosophy and program design, not just for myself, but for others, clients, from elite athletes too. Like I said, people are getting out of pain and injuries, and just kind of give you more behind the scenes of that. See you in the next Coach's Corner.